Have you ever wondered why your child struggles with setting boundaries and saying no? Many kids feel conflicted because they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings and they've been taught to be polite and respectful their whole life. Here's the good news. With the right strategies and the right guidance, they can learn to be assertive and respectful at the same time. So, hi, welcome back. I'm Sabrina Reagan, and I'm a child psychologist and a parenting expert. Today, I want to tackle the common struggle that many parents and kids have about being able to say no, even when you're uncomfortable. So, first, I want to talk about some common reasons why it's hard for kids to say no. Then, I want to give you a step-by-step strategy to teach your kids boundaries. And finally, I want to give you some playful strategies to help your child practice setting boundaries confidently. So the first one is politeness and social conditioning. From a young age, children are taught to be polite and compliant and not question authority. So when they're asked to do something by an adult, the expectation is that they say yes, that they're not digging their heels in, that they're not saying no. And so they have this built-in fear that if they say no, they're being disrespectful, they're going against authority, and they're doing something wrong. The second reason is empathy. So, especially with our sensitive kids, they have a hard time saying no or that they're uncomfortable with something happening because they don't want to hurt someone else's feelings. And so, if there's any concern, even the smallest, that someone might be hurt by their comments or by their experience, they will not speak up. So, the next one is fear of conflict. And especially for the sensitive kids, if their opinion or setting a boundary or saying no might cause some kind of conflict with their peers, or even the sense of feeling rejected, they won't do it. Another one is purely lack of practice. Many kids just haven't had enough real life experiences to know what to say, how to say it in an assertive, respectful, confident way. And that is what we're going to learn how to do today. So here's a simple step-by-step approach that you can follow to be able to teach your kids how to say no confidently and how to set boundaries confidently. Step one might actually feel really silly to hear and do, but it's so important for our kiddos. And that is to actually give them permission to say no. So you tell your child that it's okay to say no when they feel uncomfortable with something. But part of it is also teaching them what feeling uncomfortable is. So many kids need to check in with themselves. Does this make me feel yucky? Does this make me feel uncomfortable? And if it does, that in those moments, it really is okay to put your hand up and say, no, I don't want to do this, or this is not okay with me. And then a third part to giving them permission is to walk through particular circumstances that they might feel uncomfortable and have to say no because it's not actually obvious to them. And so walking through their day, trying to figure out who in their world, siblings, peers, friends, whether it's you or their other parents, when they can say no, when it is polite to be able to say, that actually feels uncomfortable and I don't agree with that. They need you to help them walk through these particular moments so they know when it's okay and they don't have to worry whether they're being disrespectful or not. If you're finding value in this video, to subscribe, like, and comment so that the YouTube algorithm can push this out to more parents who need it. Step two, as with many other videos I've talked about this, is to make sure that you're modeling really good boundaries. This is important because children learn so much more by what we do than what we say. And if they can see that you're doing it, they can see when you're doing it, to who you're doing it, how you're doing it, and that you are sticking up for yourself in a very respectful way. This is something that they'll emulate, they'll copy it. Step three is about scripts. If we want to build confidence in our kids, if we want to teach them how to be assertive in an appropriate way, they need to know the words to use when they are feeling uncomfortable. And so you can brainstorm with them all sorts of different ways of saying no that are confident, direct, and assertive, and then practice these statements so that they have them in their memory. The second part of scripting is re-scripting. So when you notice them interacting with their siblings or even with friends during play dates, and you notice different interactions where they have spoken up not quite right, or they should be speaking up, to make sure that you give them the script in real time in that moment of what they should say and how they should say it so that they can do that. This gives them confidence of being able to know the right words in the right situation and that they have your back to be able to communicate that. And step 3, probably the most fun of all, is playful practice. This is where kids learn the absolute most, is making sure that what you're teaching them, you're doing in play. And so here's 3 different playful ways of doing that. The first one is role playing. So in this one, what you can do is if your child comes to you with a scenario at school or something that happened with their siblings and you weren't there to catch it to re-script for them, then you guys can pick a couple of different characters of toys that they have, whether it's Barbies or cars or stuffies. You're one and your child is the other. Then you can role play, walk through the scenario that happened, and then whisper to your child in the play and tell them what they can say instead, and then practice that so they get the script and the confidence to be able to say it next time. A second way is by giving them a voice. So one struggle that kids often have is hearing their own voice in a confident way when they have to say no. So oftentimes it's not easy to say no. And so they'll say, no, don't do that in a really quiet voice where kids won't be able to hear it or kids won't be able to respect it. And so what you need to make sure that you're doing is teaching them what their voice sounds like and what it feels like. And this is where we can do it in play. And so there's 2 games that you can play for this. One is yes, no. And the second one is peanut butter jelly. And they both are played the same way. You are yes, they are no. You are peanut butter, they are jelly. You say yes in a voice that they have to copy. So if you say it yes, then they say no. But if you say yes, then they have to say no. And the more times you play around with the differences in voice, the more confident they are in being able to use their voice that way and hear their voice that way. So their own confident voice does not scare them. The third fun way of teaching your kids assertiveness and to say no is by playing in front of the mirror. So all of these games can be done in front of the mirror, especially the yes, no game. So if you both are looking at yourself in the mirror, you say yes, they say yes. You say no, they say no. And they're watching their face. They're watching how they're saying it. And this is just one more level of experience to teach them to be confident in their own bodies, to be assertive, and to be able to verbalize yes, no when it's needed. The last thing that's super, super important is that the only way your child will know when and how to say no and to be comfortable with it is through repetition. First, repetition builds confidence. Practice regularly to build strong neural pathways of assertiveness and saying no. The second thing is to make sure you make it fun. Keep it lighthearted so that your child absorbs these lessons and wants to be there to learn. The more fun you have, the more they're going to learn, the more assertive and confident they're going to be. And as a bonus, the more connected they'll be with you, and they'll have fun with this one-on-one time practicing assertiveness and confidence. Teaching boundaries isn't just about telling your kids what to do. It's about giving them the tools and the confidence to stand up for themselves in assertive ways and to be confident in doing this and confident in their choice of being able to say no and set that boundary. So I want you to try these strategies. Watch your child's assertiveness grow, watch your child's confidence grow, and then come back and comment and let me know what worked and what didn't. and maybe what you need a little bit more of, and I can give you some more strategies. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more parenting tips. See you next time.